I am a firm believer that it doesn't matter who dies in a story or a movie, so long as the dog lives, or any animal for that matter. I don't like seeing animals hurt. I don't like seeing animals killed, mistreated, whether it's in real life or in fiction. I know it is an effect, and obviously it gets me stirred up, so it's going to get your readers stirred up, which is what you want them to do. Placidly turning pages is not any author's desire. That's not what we want our readers to do. We want them to be on the edge of the seat. We want them going, oh my God, what's going to happen? You can do that without hurting an animal. I mean, unless it's like this raging saber-toothed tiger that's coming at you, or the cocaine bear or something where it's a threat. You know, it's you or the animal. You know, you're stuck out in the Yukon or in the jungle or on a desert island, and it's you and the animal, and there can only be one. But the animal isn't doing anything to you, why make it suffer? If something isn't doing anything to you, why make it suffer? L. Frank Baum, for all of his faults, in his book, he only had Toto threatened by Elvira Gulch and the Wicked Witch. The dog never got hurt. There's one movie that everybody raves about, and it made him famous, and it's I Am Legend, starring Will Smith. I've never seen the ending because I would be watching it, watching, and then they had to kill the dog. We're done. And then I had a friend that was really, really into fantasy and everything else, and they had discovered Game of Thrones. They watched every episode. They had all the books, and they told me, you need to read this. This is fantastic. You have to read it. And it's like, okay, I don't like being assigned reading if I can at all help it now that I'm out of school. But so anyway, I started reading it, and it was okay, and I was starting to get into it until we came to the point where one character killed this girl's pet wolf just because he was mad and he could. And he was, you have effectively established that character as a complete POS. No doubts. You've also lost me as a reader. I've never picked up a single one of those books again, and I have never watched a single episode. It's a cheap heat, killing an animal. You've got to be a way to not do that. Sometimes there's the beloved character that has to go away that you really love, and it's the fatherly or the grandfatherly figure or the motherly or the matronly figure. There actually is a necessary point where that character has to be removed, because that is the only way the main character, the protagonist, the hero, the heroine, however you want to put it, that's the only way they can step into their role. So Yoda dies in Empire Strikes Back. Gandalf has to fall into the chasm. Aslan has to be killed on the stone table. And there's numerous examples in literature, in folk tales, in legends, and in all that, where now all of a sudden the student has to become the master. And it's heartbreaking, and it is hard. But you see, the animal doesn't fill that role. It's your friend. It's your companion. It goes back to an old formula that they had for cartoons when I was growing up, way back when we had to worry about being attacked by mastodons and things like that. You always had certain archetypes in every cartoon. And if you look at the cartoons from the 60s and 70s especially, you will see this play out. You have the average kid. And then you have the one that's a little bit of the misfit. Might be a little chubby, might be a little dorky. Something that would probably be picked last, in school for any team. You would usually be picked on, but that was to let the ones that weren't the most athletic or the perfect or the average feel like they had a place. So you had the average kid, you had the kind of outlier, you had the athletic, all-American big brother type, then you had the really pretty one. You also had to have some kind of a parent, grandparent type character, and then you had to have an animal. One of the classic examples of this, Scooby-Doo. Okay, Fred and Daphne, they're kind of like the big brother, big sister part. Velma, she's kind of like the outlier, the weird one. You've got Shaggy, who is cross between the average teenager and the misfit because he's really not, the swiftest. And then you had Scooby. Another one was Archie. You had Archie, he was the average kid. You had the popular ones like Veronica. And then, Betty was kind of another average. You had Jughead, he was kind of the outlier. Moose kind of took the place of the pet, I guess. And, you had Miss Grundy and Mr. Weatherby as, the parental figures. But you always had to have the animal in there because that made the little kids feel comforted. The pet is supposed to be the source of comfort. You can use that for dramatic effect as far as I'm concerned. Now, this is just me. And, I am far from being a authoritative voice on this. But if I was going to be an English teacher, I would tell you, use the animal for a dramatic effect. It's a therapy dog. All of a sudden, it gets lost, or it's a therapy cat. Somebody breaks into your house and the cat gets loose. You can't find it. It can then become a thing, but so long as in the end, it gets resolved. Because otherwise, if you're just killing it off for the effect of shocking somebody, I really think that's the equivalent of, stealing or running over a homeless person's dog. You just did it because you could. And the way I look at it, don't kill off the animal. Don't kill off the dog. Don't kill off the bird. Don't kill off the horse. Don't kill off the cow. Don't kill anything off unless it is a threat or an obstacle that has to be overcome. Which, typically you don't have to do that with a dog or a cat or, a bird. So, save the cat.